this film for me was like Marvel meets Bend It Like Beckham on its way to Bollywood. So I really felt that I wanted to share that with you. And I wanted to know, why did you guys decide that this was a film that you wanted to be involved in? I'd love to hear.
I mean, for me, I'd worked with Nidha a couple times before. Firstly on a short called Lady Parts, and then a bit in Doctor Who. So I was already just like such a huge fan. I loved working with her. So when this came through, I was like so excited. And then I read the script, and it was like so Nidha, like very eclectic and funny and sort of genre bending. And I just loved the script. And then I also loved my character. I was really excited to lift her off the page and see, what I could do with her. And so, I was just really thrilled to get cast.
Absolutely. And how about you, Priya? Like, your role is quite fundamental across the entire scape of the film.
Yeah. I mean, I think Rhea inspires me. Her like self-belief, her passion, her spirit is something that I think we can all learn a little bit from. And not only that, but her entire adventure is just hilarious and extravagant and outrageous and just absolutely bonkers. And I loved every minute of reading it. I laughed out loud whilst reading it. And even the relationships within it, particularly the love story between the two sisters, which I just thought was so beautiful and was really like the thread that held it all together. And that was so powerful to me. I recognized so many relationships that I've had, sisterhood within my life reflected within that one relationship. And that was really special. Nidha's such an incredible writer. There's no way that you wouldn't want to be a part of something that she creates.
Absolutely. A really great scene was just the choreography around the fight scene that you guys had. You got to share a little bit about that, because it looks so insanely real. And you always wonder, does anyone get hurt in those types of scenes? Share a little bit about that experience.
We had lots of fun shooting the sister scene. It was really good. And we also did do a little bit of rehearsal before we started shooting for it. You kind of learn the choreography of the fight. And that obviously helps in terms of safety in particular, that everyone knows what they're doing and we don't hurt each other or do anything, that would create any damage. But it was really bonding, because I learned so much from you whilst filming the fight. And, Ritu's so incredible, and she has done stunt stuff before, and she was really bringing so much into the rehearsal room and whilst we were on set. And it kind of really reflected Rhea and Lena's relationship as well, how Rhea really learns from her sister. And that was really fun to kind of see that mirrored within our own process of making it. It was such a fun time.
Absolutely. What was the best part for you playing this role? Because sometimes, a person feels, especially women in our culture, that we do, have to be in a position where we have to do things we don't want to do. We do end up, wearing the cardigan, so to speak, and becoming the Stepford wife. How did you kind of relay into that role? Because I get the sense that you're a very empowered and confident woman, but you had to play the opposite on some levels with Lena.
Wow, thank you. I felt I felt Lena was very relatable to myself. I don't always feel very confident or cool or strong at all. So I thought it was wonderful to get to play this character, very cathartic to go, especially at the beginning, at the film, where Lena's in this really dark place and she's lost and she doesn't have a purpose, or she feels she doesn't. And I've been there. And so I think I was really drawn to that. And then she has this beautiful relationship with her sister, which is full of unconditional love and support, and encouragement, as well as rivalry.
Yeah.
And also their own sort of world. Every, I think, group of siblings has their own sort of language, their own code and their own humor. And I felt like it was so unique because of that. And I have that with my siblings, we have a sort of a humor that I don't think anyone else really finds very funny. And so, I loved playing Lena for all those reasons. And then I think that she comes out the other end feeling like, not necessarily like she now knows what she wants to do, but that it's okay. And so this arc of sort of empowerment that she sort of accidentally goes on, I thought was a beautiful and relatable, message.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting because when I look at, both of your characters, your character with Rhea is just unbelievably steadfast that this is what she wants to do for a living, and it doesn't matter who is, in her way, her mind doesn't change and she gets her strength from her sister.
Yeah.
Right. And this is a really beautiful part of what I found in the film and your need to help her come out of her feeling of being lost.
Yeah.
So I felt that, but what the one role that I felt was really, really, almost scary for me was the role of the protagonist with Rahila, because, I kind of felt sorry for her. Because when you look at a lot of the generation that never really got to be who they want to be, right? And they were pushed into, a role that they needed to have. I kind of feel a sense of, sorry for her. I'd love to know how you guys feel about that, because you can think about your grandparents, you can think about those generations that actually, were that woman, but she just happened to take it to a level that we hope that we don't take. I'd love your thoughts on that. When you look at the generational scenario there with Rahila and how she just really, really, I felt sorry for her. I feel that I'd like to share that.
I mean, when I think that's a huge credit to Nidha's writing and also Nimra's incredible performance, because I think the best villains are those that we can understand and kind of like feel compassion for, because you're like, I get why you do this. I get why you're evil, why you would want to go to this extent, right? So such a credit to to Nimra's performance and Nidha's writing. But I think you do understand that. You understand how much our parents have gone through and the societal pressures that they had, and perhaps the lack of accessibility that they had to these ideas, to people having Rhea's level of self-belief. Like, even myself, seeing a character like Rhea's like one of the first time I'm ever seeing a young brown girl have this level of self-belief and this desire to do something and not care what anybody else thinks or says, but she's going to keep doing it anyway. And so you do understand that. You understand why somebody would kind of almost in a way want to live vicariously through the next generation, or try to enforce that they get their way at some point too, when doors start to open for others. But I guess it's just a lesson of wanting to stop that generational trauma, to allow doors to open for the next generation, and we be the people that help doors open for the coming generation too. So I guess, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that you say that, because honestly, I feel that comedy is such a great genre for layers of serious undertones. And I feel that did happen with this film, even though it was completely hilarious. And it was all the things that you remember as a kid, because I remember having the fights with my sister and breaking half the house. So when I saw that, I was thinking, oh my God, that happens in other people's houses too.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Those scenes were really fundamentally funny. But the thing I want to ask you guys is, for anyone out there who's not South Asian, what would you say to them about going to want to watch this film?
Well, I feel like the themes are so universal.
Yeah.
Right? It's just such an enjoyable film, generally. This family, it's about family, it's about sisters, it's about friendship. And, they live in Britain, and I just think there's so many things that you take from it, and they're South Asian as well, and that's another specificity for this family and this culture, which we all have within our families and within our friendships and siblings. So it really is for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about you? How do you feel about it? What would you say to people out there about this film that is a must watch?
Oh my gosh, it's just epic. I think especially in this day and age, I think we just want to go to the cinema and like escape for a couple of hours. And this film provides exactly that. It's so entertaining and so funny and just a crazy storyline. And it's just something we've never seen before. And we all want to go and see something original at the cinema. And this is so genre bending and nostalgic in its own way. We nod to so many different types of films and genres. And I think people would just love it. They'll feel inspired and related to and just have a great time.
Absolutely. And one really epic scene was the heist. The heist was absolutely hilarious. I'd love to know, what your favorite scene was, both of you, in the film. Like, what did you like to do the best? And that's one part of the question. The other is, what was your favorite after watching the film?
Oh, I mean, my favorite after watching the film was also the heist. I was in such lols watching you all do your little man walks through the gym disguised. It was like every time I watch it, I'm just laughing. So yeah, that was definitely my biggest lols. And to film, I mean, so many moments.
Yeah.
But I don't know, to pick one, it was very special at the end of filming because we were filming our last scenes. And so something felt really just magical about getting to kind of close the film together, as well as like saying bye to everyone. And we were driving through London and like with the sort of the night landscape, what would you call it?
Like the sky, the skyline.
Skyline.
Oh, yes, that's the word.
With the night skyline, and it just felt so special. So I really enjoyed, filming that.
And how about you, Priya?
I felt the high scene when they were at the gym. It was so funny. I actually remember there was one scene that I was doing. I walk into like the men's locker and I have to like pretend to be a guy. And it was just, I had to convince myself that if I didn't do the next take, I would be fired because I was just laughing so much. It was so funny. That was really just really enjoyable to make. There's so many scenes as well. Like the dance scene comes to mind. So many of the fight scenes as well. But watching, I think the last scene was really special. It always kind of moves me to tears. The end of the film, even when the girls buy the car and they're screaming at the text message and stuff like that, it's just such a beautiful come together of the film, and it ends so wonderfully with the sisters, which was the entire reason why everything happens in the first place. And that was really like, just so beautiful.
And what was the big idea of the film for you guys?
Oh.
The relationship for me. The relationships between you guys and your parents. The relationship between Rahila and her son, which was really messed up. Yeah. and these were all the wonderful things that I felt that are going to, excite people to want to be, in the theaters on April the 28th to watch this. There's so many different reasons that I think you can take so many different types of people to go see this film. Mm-hmm. I really thank you guys for, sharing this. And I'd love for you guys to tell our audience at Anokhi Uncensored that they need to come out on April the 28th and go see the film and bring their parents, bring their grandparents, and also bring their kids. Yeah. Because it's a film that's for everyone, I feel.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come watch it.
Come
April
watch
28th.
It's going to be epic. Bring everybody as well.
We'd love to have you there.